Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Finally got my new ring light, so I'm super excited about that. I hope the picture looks better for you guys. And today I wanted to talk about what I call autistic exhaustion, which is where everything just becomes too much and you want to crawl into bed and go to sleep and never come out again. I happen to have this happen to me today where I had way too many things on my plate for one day. I had so much driving to do, and it just got to the point where not only was I physically exhausted, but mentally exhausted as well, to the point where I just can't continue doing things outside of my own house for the day. And basically the reason that this happens for many autistic people is because masking is absolutely exhausting. For people who don't have autism and or don't mask in public, it's much easier to go about your day because you're not exhausting so much energy on just trying to seem neurotypical. But for people who do mask throughout the day, especially when they don't mask in their own personal life with friends or in their own home, it becomes very, very tiring to try and keep up that appearance of being neurotypical all the time when you're out in public. What this can result in is the mask slipping. That means that people who do usually mask in public will start to seem, for lack of a better term, more autistic. Basically that can look like anything from putting your head down on a table, drifting off into space while people are talking to you, getting a little bit irritable even with people that you wouldn't normally be. And that sort of thing can be really confusing for the people around you when they don't understand what's going on. And it's one of the reasons that I think that more people should be open about, one, how they actually behave, as in not needing to mask all the time, only doing it when you choose to and when you have the energy for it. And two, having more people understand what exactly it is like to be an autistic person who is exhausted with social activity. And that is going to be the purpose of this video, being able to educate people and let people know that if you don't feel like you can afford to mask as far as, you know, your daily energy goes, you don't necessarily have to mask all the time. You will be able to get through life without doing it if that happens to be your choice. And for people who are not autistic, I want to help educate them to let them know how to better support someone who is going through autistic exhaustion. So, as I was saying, I had this happen to me today, and the reason that this happened to me was actually, I don't want to say it was my mom's fault, but it was a little bit my mom's fault. And I mean that in no disrespectful way. I obviously don't blame her for asking me to do favors, but it's something that she's not fully aware can exhaust me so easily. What I have to do, and what many people with autism and other neurodiverse disorders, or I guess I don't know if disorder is the right word, but you know, people with ADHD or schizophrenia, things like that that affect the way that you expend your energy on tasks. We have to put together lists of what we need to do each day. And basically we need to measure out how much energy it's going to take to do each specific activity before we do it, so that we know that we can get through the whole day. And especially for people with autism, when any of those things changes, it becomes more exhausting because you have to go through a mini panic attack of, oh my God, things are not going as I planned them. What am I going to do to fix it? Because this is not okay. And many people will do these lists without even thinking about it because they're so used to just having to do it on a daily basis. They don't necessarily realize that that's what they're doing when they do it. And for me today, the thing that really exhausted me was just driving. And that's because I had my day planned out. I needed to get up, brush my teeth, shower, you know, all of these things before you go out of the house. And then I had a set list of specific tasks and errands that I needed to run outside of the house. Things like going to the bank. I probably didn't need to explain to you what an errand was. But anyway, so what happened was my mom called me this morning and asked, hey, are you able to take your brother to the orthodontist? Now, I had already been expecting this call. I knew I was gonna have to take him at 3 o'clock, so I needed to be at her house by 2:30 because it's a half-hour drive from their house to the orthodontist, and I had all of my day planned out around that. But she called me this morning and said, hey, the time has been changed to 1:50. Now, that may not seem like a huge dramatic change to someone who is non-autistic, but for someone who is, it is like throwing a wrench into our entire day. So I then had to move the order of my tasks around, and I needed to change the times for some of them, and I had to get rid of one because I knew I wouldn't have the energy to do anything after this appointment to go and get my brother. So that meant that I had to do almost twice as much driving as I was expecting to do, because rather than my mom bringing my brother to me and me taking him to the orthodontist earlier in the day, I would have to now drive out to their house, which is a half-hour drive, 45 minutes, something like that, and then back to the orthodontist, which is another half-hour drive, wait an hour in the parking lot of the orthodontist, then drive half an hour back to their house and 45 minutes back to my own house before I could get on with my day. And by the time I had gotten to my mom's house to pick up my brother to go to the orthodontist, I already was almost falling asleep at the wheel. I was absolutely exhausted. I couldn't stand to be around people. I was just miserable. And then I had to sit in the car with my brother, who's also autistic. So I had to be the adult and force conversation to make him more comfortable. And that might sound strange to some people because a lot of people with autism can get away with, oh, I hate small talk, I'd rather just sit in the quiet and not speak. And that was almost what I chose to do because honestly, that's all I really have the energy to do. However, my brother is the type of person who loves to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about whatever random thing that he happened to research that previous day or that previous week, and go on these long tangents where he expects no real response, but he does expect you to be listening. And I knew that because I didn't have to respond, I would be able to get away with just nodding or going, So I was then able to get through the conversation. But these are the types of things that people with autism have to think about when they plan out their day. Things as small as having a conversation with someone can be too much to pile on top of everything else. Now, for those of you who do experience this sort of thing frequently, or ever for that matter, the only thing I can say is practice makes perfect, and self-care is the most important thing. So making sure that you are exposing yourself to these types of stressful situations will help you adapt to them a little bit and make it easier the next time it happens, because it's not new and you don't know how you personally need to manage your time and possibly calm yourself down if you begin having an episode. As far as self-care goes, something that I do for self-care is I rewatch specific episodes that I am in love with from certain TV shows. Avatar. Finding something that helps you relax and wind down is really going to be the most important tool that you can give yourself. Whether that be watching TV, watching a movie, reading a comic book, reading a novel, drawing, painting, singing, writing music, any of these things are wonderful tools to help you relax and help you refocus on something that's important. One more thing I want to mention as well that can be an extremely helpful tool is making sure that you're honest with people. Most people, if you tell them, hey, look, I have autism, I'm getting extremely stressed out, I think I need a minute to go and calm down, most people are not going to be offended by that, I promise you. because they're going to understand how you feel. They're going to understand this is a condition that you can't control, but you need to be able to take care of yourself first. And for those of you listening who don't have autism, the best thing that you can do to support your autistic friend or family member or coworker is just be understanding. Understand that this isn't something that we can control, and we need to take care of ourselves as best we can. Some of us are going to be better at that than others. Some of us are still learning, but we're all trying our hardest. I can't tell you how many times I have gotten into arguments and fights with my mom because I got a little bit snippy and short with her, and it was just because I was exhausted and didn't know how to communicate effectively anymore. I mean, think about it, you'd be grumpy too if someone forced you to stay awake way too long. That's all I have for you today. Just a quick topic that I wanted to talk about. I felt like it was really important, so I hope that I helped a few people. I hope that I educated a few people. And if anyone has comments or requests for future topics and videos, please let me know.